Emeka, they are giving you an award tonight. I built that pitch. Let me come.
You built it.
Every slide, every number, the entire Henderson strategy, that was me.
And whose name is on the company? Whose clients are those? And whose office do you sit in every day while I go out and close deals?
But I am your business partner.
You are my wife, living in this country, with no papers, with nothing. Do you understand what ICE does to people right now? They don't care if you have a degree. They don't care if you built 1,000 pitches. They will put you in a van, strip you of everything, and dump you back in whatever market your mother sells pepper in.
Emeka, I just wanted to watch you receive something we built together.
You want to walk into a hotel ballroom full of immigration officers with an expired visa and a local Yoruba accent? Go and try it.
I'm not asking to cause trouble. I just want to be there.
I have worked too hard to have some village girl with no documents embarrass me. You will stay in this house, you will wait, and you will be grateful that I still come home to you. End of conversation.
The door slammed. The lock turned. Emeka straightened his jacket, the jacket his wife had helped him pick out, the jacket she had pressed that morning, the jacket she had sewn a recorder into 40 minutes ago while he was in the shower, and walked out to accept an award for a pitch she built alone. He thought he was leaving her behind. He had no idea she had been waiting for exactly this moment. He had no idea that the door he just locked was not going to hold her. It was going to free her. This is the story of Adaeze Okonkwo. And I need you to stay with me, because what this woman did, quietly, patiently, from inside a locked apartment, is one of the most satisfying things I have ever had the privilege of telling. Before we go any further, where in the world are you watching this from right now? Drop your country in the comments. I want to see how far this story has reached. And if you are not yet subscribed to our Busy Stories Empire, now is the time, because what comes next, you do not want to miss it. Adaeze was the first person in her family to leave Nigeria. Her mother, Mama Ngozi, had sold her gold, mortgaged her shop, then her land, a small plot that her own father had left her. She signed the papers and told nobody until the money was already in Adaeze's account. She put everything into one thing, her daughter's scholarship. You are the one, she told Adaeze at the airport. You are the one that will change our name. The scholarship held for 2 years. In the 3rd year, a funding restructuring, a form that needed resubmitting, a technicality that hit at exactly the wrong moment. Her status lapsed before anyone could fix it, and suddenly, Adaeze was in a foreign country with no papers, no money, and a mother back home who had already sold the land. Going back meant returning to a woman who had given everything with nothing to show for it. She could not go back. That was when Emeka Dike found her. Nigerian community dinner. He had a car, a condo, a job title, the easy confidence of a man who appeared to have already figured out the hard parts of life. He talked about his business proposal like it was already a legacy. He smiled at her like she was the answer to a question he'd been asking for years. She did not love him immediately, but she needed ground to stand on, and he offered ground. What she did not know, what he made sure she did not know, was that Emeka Dike was sitting on close to $100,000 of personal debt. Credit cards, a personal loan he had taken out years ago that he had been rolling over and barely touching. The car was leased, the condo was rented, the job title was real, but the salary had been swallowed by minimum payments for so long he could barely see it. He had been looking for a solution. When Adaeze walked into that community dinner with her data analytics degree and her desperate need for solid ground, Emeka Dike found one. She noticed the mistake in his business proposal 3 weeks before he proposed. He had accidentally left it open on his laptop during a visit, a financial modeling error that would have embarrassed him in front of the client. She pointed it out quietly. He laughed. "You are a dropout. What would you possibly know about this?" She explained it anyway, walked him through exactly what was wrong and exactly how to fix it. He submitted her correction without changing a word. The client approved it in 48 hours, fastest turnaround his company had ever seen. He proposed the following week. She thought it was love. He thought it was an acquisition. The marriage happened fast, the way things happen when one person is building something and the other person is just relieved to have stopped falling. He sponsored her visa paperwork. He set up what he called their joint account. Her name was on it as a secondary holder, but the access permissions were his own alone. She couldn't withdraw, she couldn't transfer, she couldn't see the full statements. He explained this carefully. "Babe," he sat across from her, serious, caring. "I need to explain something about how the immigration system works here. If you have a solo account, a credit card, anything in your name separately from me, it flags your file. Case officers see it as a sign that you are building independent ties outside our marriage, like you're using the marriage to stay. I'm not going to let that happen to you. Everything we earn in our company goes through our joint account. I handle the finances. I keep you protected." She was new. She was scared. She had watched the news. She had no reference point for what was true and what wasn't. She believed him. So she worked every day from home. She wrote his proposals, built his client strategies, designed the frameworks his company ran on, solved problems other consultants charged 5 times what he charged to solve. He went to the meetings, he shook the hands, he took the calls. Every week he told her she was his secret weapon, that without her the company was nothing, that when her status was fully settled, her name would be on everything. He gave her a number every month, her salary, he called it, deposited into the joint account they shared. She had no card, she had no way to check the statement, but she trusted the number because she trusted him. She was building what she believed was their future. She was actually building his exit. The first crack appeared 3 months before the night of the award. She finished a strategy report, her best work in months, and sent it to his email to forward to the client. She forgot to remove her name from the document metadata. Author, Adaeze Okonkwo. 2 days later, his phone rang on the counter while he was in the shower. She was fussing. She heard it connect to speaker. "Emeka, the report is excellent." The client's voice was warm. "One small thing though. Who is Adaeze Okonkwo? Her name's all over the document metadata." A pause. Then Emeka's voice, smooth, unbothered, not even a little rattled. "Oh, that's just my data entry girl. She types things up for me, formats my notes. Admin work. Don't mind the name." Adaeze stood in the kitchen with her hand flat on the counter. Data entry girl. Not business partner, not co-founder, not wife, not the woman who had spent 2 years building the foundation of everything he was now receiving awards for. Data entry girl. She confronted him that evening, not screening, genuinely confused because she still wanted there to be an explanation. She asked him why he said it. She used his own words back at him. Partners, building together, her name on everything when the time was right. He sighed. He rubbed his face. He said the client wouldn't understand their arrangement. He said she was overthinking. He said he was tired and she was making things harder than they needed to be. He talked in circles until somehow, without her quite understanding how it happened, the conversation ended with her apologizing for bringing it up. She dropped it. But something in her dropped with it. Something that did not come back up. The next morning, she went out for groceries. 30 minutes, maybe 40. Normal errand. She came back to find him standing at the door. "Where were you?" "The store, I told you. You told me 30 minutes. You were gone almost an hour." "A line?" He said it slowly, like he didn't believe in lines. "Who did you talk to?" "Nobody. I bought eggs and bread and came home." "I don't care what you bought. I asked who you talked to." "I didn't talk to anyone." "Adaeze." His voice filled the apartment. "You think I don't know what you're doing? You think I don't see it? Running around this city? You don't even have papers? You want to be outside making friends, building connections for what? For what exactly?" "Emeka." Emeka, I just went to buy groceries. Shut up. Go inside. Go inside and don't come out of that room until I tell you to. She looked at him. I mean it. Go. She went, but she did not cry. She sat on the edge of their bed, and for the first time since she arrived in this country, she let herself think clearly, not with love, not with fear, not with the constant low hum of gratitude she had been carrying since the day she married her when she had nothing and nobody. She thought clearly, like the girl she used to be before she crossed an ocean and forgot her own name. Now, I need to stop here for a second because I want to ask you something, and I want a real answer in the comments. At what point did you see it? When did you know, watching this story, that Emeka was not who he said he was? Was it the proposal that came 1 week after she fixed his mistake? Was it the joint account she couldn't access? Was it data entry girl? Tell me exactly when, because I think a lot of you have been in a room with an Emeka, a person who used your brain to build their life and called you something small when they thought you weren't listening. Drop it below. And if you are not yet part of Abby Stories Empire, subscribe right now, because what happens next is the part this whole story has been building toward. Adaeze had ordered the recorder the night after he refused to let her come to the award. It was small, the size of a button. She had it delivered to her neighbor, Mrs. Okafor, the Yoruba woman 2 floors down who brought her pepper soup when she looked thin and never asked questions. She picked it up the next morning. She tested it in the bathroom with the tap running. Not out of panic, out of clarity. The kind of clarity that comes when the noise of hoping finally goes quiet and what's underneath it is just a woman who is very good at analyzing information, deciding to start collecting some. It worked. 2 days later, he announced he was going on a business trip. He was packing his bag when she walked into the room. How long? She asked. A week, maybe more. You will stay inside till I get back. Okay. She helped him fold his shirts. She smoothed the collar of his grey jacket, and in the lining of that jacket, with hands that did not shake at all, she pressed the recorder into place and smoothed the fabric back over it. He put the jacket on himself. He kissed her forehead. He locked the door from outside. Both locks, she heard each one. His footsteps went down the hallway. The elevator arrived, then silence. Adaeze put the earpiece in. She opened the receiver app on her phone. She sat down on the couch and she began to listen. Day 1 was almost normal. Business calls, client check-ins, his voice smooth and easy the way it always was in rooms where people respected him. She recognized 2 proposals she had written, word for word, being discussed as his original thinking. She wrote down the timestamps. She said nothing. Day 2 was when the floor moved. She heard him on a call with someone she could not immediately identify, a financial advisor maybe, or an accountant. The voice was professional, careful. The joint filing deadline is next month. Once she signs, it consolidates everything. Good, Emeka said. She doesn't need to understand what she's signing. I'll tell her it's standard immigration paperwork. Emeka, the debt exposure once she's attached to the filing is something I'll manage afterwards. Right now, I need her signature. The full $94,000 gets routed through the joint filing. Once her name is on it, it's marital debt, legally hers as much as mine. $94,000. Adaeze sat in their apartment and felt the last 2 years rearrange themselves completely. Every proposal, every late night, every idea she handed him across a kitchen table thinking they were building something together. He was not building with her. He had been building a way out. Her signature was the last piece. Once she signed, his death became ours, hers. She would be legally attached to a hole she had never dug, with no account in her name, no credit history, no proof she ever earned anything, in a country where she barely had status. She set the phone down. She picked up her laptop. She opened every document she had ever written, draft histories, time-stamped saves, her name in the metadata of 2 years of work that won him clients, contracts, and an award she wasn't allowed to attend. She photographed everything. She called the legal aid line for immigrant women. Her voice was barely above a whisper. The woman on the other end listened without interrupting. Then she said a word she had never heard before. UV status. Status available to victims of specific crimes, including unlawful confinement, independent of any spouse's sponsorship, filed separately, processed on its own merits. The night he locked that door was already enough to begin. She started writing it all down. Day 4 was the one she would remember longest. A different voice came through the earpiece, and this one stopped her heart completely. Warm, familiar, the kind of voice that had called her every few weeks to say, "Mrs. Okafor, your application is still being processed. These things take time. Please don't worry." Chisom, her immigration case officer.
"Has your dear wife figured it out yet?" Chisom asked, her voice lazy with satisfaction. And she was not asking professionally. She was lying in something soft. She was asking the way a woman asks when she is completely comfortable. "Adaeze," Emeka laughed. "She's exactly where I left her, sitting in that apartment, waiting for immigration to save her." He laughed again. Poor thing still thinks her application is processing. Chisom sighed. "Emeka, how much longer do we have to keep pretending? I'm tired of that village girl calling me every month. I can't stand the thought of her waking up beside you." Emeka's voice turned cold. "Chisom, it's almost done. I never filed the application. Once her legal status expires, she's finished. No papers, no work authorization, no bank account she can safely use, no protection. By the time she realizes what's happened, she'll be too terrified to fight back." "And after that," Chisom said. Emeka answered without hesitation. "She signs the divorce, I keep the company, she gets deported, and then," he paused just long enough to enjoy saying it, "it's finally just us." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Chisom laughed. "It's finally just us."
Adaeze took the earpiece out. She sat completely still for a long time. 8 months. 8 months of Chisom's warm, patient voice telling her the system was slow, these things take time, please don't worry. 8 months of deliberate reassurance from a woman who was sleeping with her husband and using her government position to make sure Adaeze's application went nowhere, so that when the time came, she would be deportable, undocumented, and completely without recourse. The application had never been filed, not once. She put the earpiece back in. She opened a new document, and she built her case the same way she had built every proposal, every strategy, every framework that had won Emeka Dike awards he accepted alone in ballrooms where she was not allowed to come. Carefully, completely, without missing a single thing. She filed the unlawful confinement report on day 5, quietly, as part of the U-Visa cooperation process. She sent her document evidence to the legal aid contact, timestamps, metadata, authorship history on 2 years of work. She photographed the account setup, showing her access had been blocked since the beginning. She recorded herself on video that night, describing the lock-in, the date, what he had said when he closed the door. Day 7. The door unlocked. He came in carrying takeout and a stack of proposals. 3 new ones. He needed them finished quickly. Big week ahead. He set them on the table in front of her and sat down and smiled like a man who had taught someone an important lesson and was pleased with the results. "I missed you, babe." She looked at the proposals. "I'll get started," she said. She sat at the laptop. She opened the files. She let him believe the week had done exactly what he intended, that the locked door had reminded her of her place. That night, she slept beside him one last time. In the morning, while he was on a call in the next room, she took her bag from the back of the closet, packed carefully, 3 days worth of one item at a time, slow enough that nothing looked different, unlocked the front door with the spare key she had cut through the building superintendent, and walked out. No confrontation, not yet. She stayed 2 nights with Mrs. Okafor downstairs, who fed her jollof rice and asked 0 questions.
He called. She didn't answer. He called her mother in Lagos. Mama Ngozi, frightened, called Adaeze. Adaeze told her she was safe. She told her nothing else yet. He showed up at her friends, at the Nigerian Community Center, anywhere he could think of. Nobody knew anything. He called Chisom, increasingly frantic. Chisom told him to stop making noise and handle it quietly. 2 days later, Adaeze walked back in. Her key, her timing. He was at the kitchen table when she came in. He stood up so fast his chair scraped back.
Where the hell have you been?
She put her bag down.
Think.
I needed to think. You needed to think? 2 days, Adaeze? 2 days you disappeared. Do you know what I've been going through? Do you have any idea? I called your mother. I called everyone. I was about to call the police. You probably shouldn't call the police, she said quietly. He stared at her. What? Sit down, Emeka. Don't tell me to sit down in my own. Sit down. Something in her voice stopped him. He sat. Adaeze sat across from him. She folded her hands on the table. I want to talk about the company, about everything we've built together. His face shifted. She watched the calculation move behind his eyes, and then, smooth as oil, he reached into his briefcase and slid a folder across the table, a pen on top. Actually, good timing. I've been meaning to go over this with you. It's a joint filing, standard immigration paperwork. It will help consolidate your status, tie up some loose ends. Babe, I know things have been hard lately, but we are so close. You are the foundation of everything I have built. You know that. You know that, right? None of this works without you. Just sign this and we move forward, together, the way we always planned. She looked at the folder. She looked at him. She reached into her bag. She placed the recorder on the table between them. She pressed play. His own voice filled the kitchen. She doesn't need to understand what she's signing. The color left his face. The full $94,000 gets routed through the joint filing. Once her name is on it, it becomes marital debt. He lunged for the recorder. She slid it out of reach. Then Chisom's voice came through. Did she figure anything out yet? Adaeze, she's been sitting in that apartment like a good girl. He stood up. His chair hit the wall behind him. What the hell is that? You can't do that. That's illegal. You recorded me without consent. That's not admissible anywhere. I'm not in court. I'm in my kitchen. He moved toward the door. She didn't move.
You think this is over? He turned back, and his voice dropped into something cold and deliberate. The voice she now understood had always been underneath the warmth. You have nothing here. No status, no account, nothing in your name. You think you can play games with me? I will call ICE myself. You hear me? I will make one phone call and you will be on a flight back to Lagos before the week is out. You have nothing without my name and you know it. He stepped toward her. Adaeze, I am not playing with you. Sign the papers or I promise you. The knock came. Hard, official. He froze. She looked at him. I filed the report on day 5, she said quietly. The unlawful confinement, the fraud documentation. It's already been moving for 3 days. I didn't wait for you to come home. He turned to the door like a man who has just understood, too late, the shape of the room he is standing in. 2 officers. Emeka Dike.
He looked at Adaeze one last time, and he used the only thing he had ever truly had over her, the fear that he had spent 2 years carefully building inside her, and he threw it like a stone. Adaeze, he dropped his voice, desperate now, no performance left in it. Babe, think about this. Think about your papers. You have nothing here without me. No status, no account, nothing in your name. They will deport you. You will have nothing. You are nothing in this country without my name. Adaeze reached into her bag. She held up the document. Her U-Visa approval letter. Processed 3 days ago. Her status in this country, independent, permanent, attached to no one's name but her own. Granted because the crime he committed that night when he turned that lock was exactly the kind of documented evidence the process required. He had built her case for her. He had signed her freedom with his own hands on a night he thought he was winning. She looked at him. "I'm not going anywhere, Adaeze. You built my case for me. The night you locked that door and put on that jacket, you gave me everything I needed. You just didn't know it." He had nothing left. The officers stepped forward. Chisom's professional license was flagged in the same report. She had used her position as a government officer to deliberately obstruct and manipulate a visa applicant for personal benefit. Her career was finished before the week was out. Adaeze did not go back to that apartment.
Mrs. Okafor helped her find a sublet with good light and a desk by the window. She reached out to the professor from her postgraduate program, the one who had once told her she had a rare mind, and he had a research consultancy that needed someone exactly like her. The contract had her name on it. The salary went into an account that was entirely, only hers. The first time she opened a work document and saw the author field, just her name, no one else's, her work attributed to her and no one else, she sat at that desk for a long time before she could continue. Mama Ngozi, when Adaeze finally told her everything, went quiet for so long that Adaeze thought the call had dropped. Then her mother said, soft and certain, "I sacrificed everything for the right daughter." Now, I want to hear from you. Because this story is full of moments where someone could have said something earlier, moved faster, asked one more question. So first, tell me in the comments, at what point in this story did Emeka show you exactly who he was? The proposal week? The data entry girl? The locked door? Tell me. Second, is there a Chisom in your life right now? Someone smiling to your face and working against you from a position you trusted them with? You don't have to say the name. Just say there was a Chisom and let the people in the comments hold that with you. And third, if this story found you today, if something in it felt like something you needed to hear, share it. One person, someone who is sitting in a room right now that someone else locked, believing they have no options, send it to her. And if you are not yet subscribed to Abby's Stories Empire, now is the time. We tell stories here that stay with you, stories that see you, and we are not going anywhere. Some people build cages out of other people's fears. They are very careful about it. They remove every resource, close every door, and stand back feeling certain they have won. They forget one thing. A woman with a mind and enough quiet time is not trapped. She is walking. The next story is already waiting for you. I will see you there.